We have just had one of the craziest days in FNCS history. We now have Veno and Queasy, the EU FNCS champions, out of FNCS. They cannot play grand finals now. They went from winning 6 out of 12 games in the last grand finals to not making it out of round 1, week 3, or week 2, so their FNCS is now over. If you guys don't know the format, it is impossible for them to get enough points to now make it to grand finals. They have to sit it out. They still have their global championship spot to the land, but obviously that is still a huge upset. But they're not the only ones. We now have Yanis and Rezon now not in grand finals. Rezon has now gone on to tweet out that he is most likely going to retire from Fortnite after global championship if they don't make it through last chance major. Again, I'll explain how last chance major works in a second if you're confused. But again, they're not the only ones. We also have Leshy and Swilliam not making it through. We have Jalen and Twy. There's a little bit of drama there because Jalen would have qualified if he got the points from the flag that he captured on the island, but there is still the flag bug, so he didn't get the points for that. And I don't think Epic will actually assign them. Snazy and Podesai, one of the best French teams right now, looking like they won't make it after an insane performance in the week 2 finals. Remember, this is added onto the list of other EU pros who already are out before this week even started. Della and Pixie, Jerky and PKR, Aqua and Wox, World Cup and FNCS champions, and they're all already out. It wasn't just EU as well. We had big names on NA now completely out of FNCS. Scoped and Magnolia, Rich Homie Quinn and Zackles. We have Victor V and B-Dog, Flo and Nick, the French Canadians, and a whole bunch of teams didn't make it out of round 1 into round 2 this week, but because they already had their series points, they should still be safe. But I know there's a big name I'm missing there. Clix and Epic Whale got across the line. They managed to clutch it up. They absolutely dominated today off stream. They ended up on over 400 points. Their match history was ridiculously consistent, showing that when they play off stream, they are absolutely insane. And I know a lot of people are going to maybe say that's like suspicious, or man, I can't make that big of a difference. You have to remember, this isn't just Clix and Whale streaming and maybe they're a little bit nervous. They were getting stream sniped by like literal hackers for the last few weeks, so we really haven't had a chance to actually see how good this team is, and they were qualified within 4 games. They absolutely dominated today. We had Feldy, who was Clix's manager, watching their games in replay on stream, and they were looking fantastic. I'm very excited to see how this team does. We also had Muzz and Paper clutch up, a bunch of big teams, Day also getting his way across the line at the very end there, and they managed to clutch up the qual, but it's not done yet. They've made it to round 2. A lot of these teams still now need to perform in round 2. Muzz and Paper need to make round 3. Clix and Whale, for example, need to get roughly about top 100. If you guys are confused on where any of these teams at, if I haven't mentioned your favorite team, linked in the description down below. I'll put a table that one of my viewers on Twitch made. Shout out Rhythm, he's the GOAT, and it gives you a rough idea of what teams will need. Now, it's not 100% accurate because we don't know exactly what top 50 consistency is going to be, but you can still look on there and it'll give you a rough idea of how things go. Or swing by my Twitch channel. I'll be live all tomorrow watching all these finals, and I'll explain to you who is and isn't qualified. But it was a super exciting day for FNCS. A lot of teams who have no chance of making grand showed up and went crazy. I did want to give a huge shout out to Roadie Bros, who made it top 40 qualifying into round 2, and then we also had Typical Gamer qualifying alongside Noah W Plays into round 2. Noah made a tweet saying the reason why he doesn't take comp serious is because he keeps getting snaked, and last minute he just picked up one of the biggest creators in YouTube and they've qualified. And Typical Gamer's on like 80 ping from Vancouver now, so super exciting performance from them as well. It was a really fun day of games to watch, especially on NA, but the vibes were a lot worse on EU. Having Veno and Queasy not make it, having Rezon and Yanis not make it, Rezon talking about retiring, Vidil, who is in grand finals but didn't make it out of round 1 today because of how well their last 2 weeks are, tweeted out that he is also most likely going to be retiring at the end of global championship or last chance major if they don't make it through. All these talks of retirement also come off the back of Bizzle announcing his retirement today. He streamed round 1 of FNCS in week 3 today, knowing that if he won, he would play round 2, but either way, he couldn't make it to grands, and he's stepping away from competitive Fortnite. One of the all-time GOATs. I know Bizzle has had an up and down history in Fortnite. He has been, in my opinion, one of the greatest players of all time. The things he's achieved will forever be remembered, especially in the early days of Fortnite. Obviously, in the middle there, it got a little bit muddier. Playing with Clix and Booga, he copped a lot of heat, and I really think that damaged his reputation more than it should have. He's one of the nicest guys in the scene, and it is going to be really sad to see him step away. And I know this sounds like doom and gloom. Oh my god, you know, 3 of the best players in the world talking about stepping away, walking away from Fortnite. Vidil's still so good. The way I always see it is a lot of these guys are just moving on with their life. And yes, a lot of them might fall out of love with the game, and that really does suck. I wish they could keep motivated and stay excited, but a lot of these guys have changed so much in this time. They're all growing up and they're just falling out of love with the game, and they're moving on with their lives. And they're going to be replaced by hopefully other big names and up and comers. It's on us as a community to embrace new up and coming pros, care about them, follow their story. I'll do the best to try and tell it. And then we have new pros to take their place. It is the natural order of things. I'm not saying I'm not sad to see these guys go. I'm not saying I wouldn't love them to stick around forever and keep competing and dominating, but it's just not feasible. But I saw a lot of negativity, a lot of people freaking out. This is the end of Fortnite. Fortnite's dying. All these pros are walking away. It's a stressful time, especially with the current FNCS format. I don't think it's perfect. I would much prefer either 4 rounds in the FNCS qualifiers so you can curb that gigantic jump from opens to top 200, or potentially just something else better, like opens to top 500, then top 500. It could be so much better in so many ways, but overall it's still a very exciting FNCS. Viewership is up massive, player base is up massive, the vibes are still there. There's just a few people who are struggling, and I understand it. Know a lot of you guys are probably thinking, what happened to Veno and Queasy? Is it because they switched their drop? Is Veno gotten an ego? I've seen on Twitter he's not been grinding. He thought he was better than the game. Veno was very vocal on Twitter to say that he has been grinding as much this season as he has any previous season, if not more. It's not because they switched drop spots. They went back to Kenjutsu throughout this week, and they went their normal drops and their normal playstyle. It just didn't work. They got a bit unlucky with cheaters, but that's just how it goes in Fortnite. It's a battle royale, and like we talked about, this format is particularly brutal. If there was some kind of surge week or reboot round, they would have made it into that, and I almost guarantee in a set lobby finals of players of that caliber, of course they're going to win at least one game or play super highly. It's a pretty rough format that's catering to a different kind of player right now, but they're already in global champs. They're already in the big LAN event next season, and now they can focus all of their attention on that. Maybe take this next couple weeks just to rest up, chill. We're about to go into an entirely new meta in the new season, so just because they didn't do too well right now, I wouldn't be panicking. They're still on the top of my list for teams to do well at the global championship, and it'll be interesting to see how they go. I've explained this a few times on my videos, but a lot of people are still confused. We have 3 FNCSs this year, and from those 3 FNCSs, the top placing teams on each region go straight through to the global championship, the $4 million LAN. But at the end of this season, the weekend after Grands, so only like 3 weekends away now, we have the Last Chance Major. It's kind of its own mini tournament. It's only going to be 3 days long. Anyone in Diamond can play it, and that's also how you're going to get to the global championship. So any team that hasn't already qualified, who's now out of this FNCS, or potentially doesn't qualify over the next few days, they still have that one last chance at the Last Chance Major. It's not all over. Yanis and Rezone can still qual. Any team that's currently out can still make it if they perform at the end of this season. Last thing I wanted to quickly talk about is, why are people saying there's going to be no FNCS after this one for 5 months? What is going on with next season? Because there's global championship, a lot of people are assuming that like last year when there was the invitational, there's no FNCS. We're just focused on the big LAN event for the big pros. But obviously that leaves the, hundreds of thousands of people who play competitive who aren't going to global championship without anything to do. So I really hope Epic steps up and puts on some Winter Royale, or maybe some daily tournaments, hopefully maybe like a solo FNCS. It's not my favorite game mode for a long period of time, but just for one season to kind of reset a lot of people's vibes, reset their energy, let a lot of people kind of, go out and try and improve on their own. Maybe they're having team issues. It would really boost up the player base and could be really solid. So I hope Epic is going to do something about this. Like I said, the vibes right now in competitive are amazing. I am personally loving the game right now, and I don't want it to go into a really big lull, but we'll have to see what Epic does. But I wanted to clear up why there's confusion about the fact that there's going to be no major tournaments for the rest of the year. We don't know that. We're just going off the fact of what Epic did last year.